Welcome
Hello.
to This Happens podcast. I am your co-host Grace, and guys, we have an announcement, y'all. Felicia has decided
Yes.
to join us full time.
Yay.
So excited about that. So welcome, Felicia. You're no longer a guest, honey. Okay,
No.
Thank you.
you. This is home now.
Yes, she is the co-host with the mostest.
Yes.
Hostess with the mostest. I'm like that.
So I'm really excited about that. As you guys know, the Life Happens podcast is a podcast where we take our spirituality and we combine it with everyday practical things to create this beautiful balance that you see in front of y'all. Y'all, this topic, Jesus, take the wheel, okay?
Yes.
So before we get into the topic, which is perfect sister wives, how many wives do you need?
Mhm.
I mean, if you want a long life, do you need more than one wife?
Right?
I mean, do you? But anyway, before we get into that, guys, how was your weekend? And Kim, tell them where you're going to, girl.
I am. I'm gonna let Felicia talk about her week first, and then
Okay.
I'll chime in.
My week is very interesting. Every Friday I have Friday night lights, so I'm at football games watching my son play, and that's really the highlight of my weekend. What about you, Kim? Well, your good news, you have more interesting
Girl,
stuff going
yes.
on.
I know. First, I want to say happy fall, y'all, because the fall is here. So I'm really excited about the fall
Mhm.
decorations. Everyone decorating their houses, and I love fall. I like to walk around the neighborhood and see all the pumpkins and everything out in the yards. I love the fall season. And one of my
Yeah.
trees in the front yard, the leaves have already started turning and falling. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, my tree is dying. But very happy that the fall is here. Y'all, I will not be here next week. Your,
Why?
your girl will be in Spain for her
Yay!
anniversary.
Cool.
How long are you
25
going for?
years.
25 years.
Oh,
God
that's
bless.
awesome. That is awesome. So how long are
Me
you
and
going for?
William are really excited.
Yep.
Are you going for a week, 2 weeks? How long are you going for?
We're going for 8 days.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I know. I'm so excited. We're going to Barcelona.
awesome. Okay.
Must be nice.
I know. I was
Wow.
Yeah.
talking to someone today and they were like, it's really sketchy. Make sure you keep your passport with you. They try to steal those and just a lot of pickpockets in the airport in Spain. And I was like,
Girl.
okay. So I'm like, yeah, give me all the information.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I would be more nervous if you're going to Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Go to Africa. No, joking. No, you have. I mean, even when I go, I'm a little bit nervous. My brother they would tell me, "Stop acting like a bloody foreigner," and I'm like, "Shit, I feel like a foreigner because I'm real jumpy and stuff." I mean,
No,
but
I'm not going to Africa unless I go with you, Rabia. I want to go with you.
okay, you can go with me. We both be jumping, child. We both be jumping, okay? Because I'll be like, because I don't want to drive there because it's terrible.
Are
They
you
drive.
terrible driving?
Yes, my nerves, my anxiety be in my throat.
Wow.
And then when we were driving, I was sitting next to my brother, and he got back in the swing of shit, and so he was driving crazy too.
Really?
Yeah, girl, no. Anyway, so hey, Brian,
So
how was your week?
good. Good
Okay,
so far.
any good news you'd like to share with us? Any exciting news? Kim is going to Spain. No.
Let me see. I mean, I don't have anything that probably compares to going to Spain, but I got some new packages, couple packages from Nike that were kind of exciting to
Ooh.
open.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty smooth. Everything was good. Everything's good. No, nothing's greater than the other.
Boring.
So
Okay.
even if it is, yeah, I mean, it's my life and I love it.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Guys, this topic, perfect sister wives. How many wives do you need, right?
For
You got a number.
Oh,
Brian has a
why
number.
four? Why four in particular, sir? Why four?
because that's not boring.
You must not want a long life, but okay. Anyway, so this topic was inspired really by I was watching Sister Wives on Sunday, right? And y'all, this was my face the whole time. Like you gotta be in me. And because I think I shared with you before, and I'm gonna tell the audience a little bit. So there's four wives and one man. Now, if you watch the show, the husband's name is Cody. I don't remember all the women's names. I only remember two, Janelle and Mary, and there was somebody else. There's two others. But anyway. So Mary is the favored wife, right? So Cody told one of his wives that, listen, I'm not attracted to you anymore. So Sister Girl got pissed off. And she's like, shit, I've been unhappy for 12 years living with this man. So you know what, Cody? I want to leave your ass.
Wow.
And Cody is throwing a foot. He doesn't understand why. Why does she want? And I'm like, sir, you just told this woman you're not attracted to her. When you come to my house, we ain't doing nothing but looking at each other, and probably he wants to leave or whatever, right? So he spreads his time between the four women. They all have children, multiple children, all this stuff, right? So I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. And so then I went online, and then we got a letter asking us about the very same thing, about and I was shook that you hear about it. And the thing, okay, so the thing that got me was that in the US, polygamy is not legal, right? In no states is it legal. Now, when I did research, I found out that in West Africa and Central Africa, it is known as the Polygamy Belt. I know, like in South Africa, I've seen people that have multiple wives and all that stuff, and they're mostly Muslim, where that is acceptable, because in South Africa, you can get married either the Islamic way or you can get married, the regular way. So these are Muslim marriages, and they can have as many wives as they want.
Mm-hmm.
But none of my siblings have multiple wives because they will get killed. You see, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So my question to you guys, is this something common to you guys? Have you heard of this before? Do you know anybody that is in a polygamous relationship or was asked?
No, I don't know anyone, but I have heard a lot about it. It's becoming really popular on social media. These they call it the poly family lifestyle. It's a lot, like the sister wives, all those. So it's becoming very increasingly popular, but I don't know anybody personally. Do you, Kim?
No, I don't know anyone who is in a polygamy marriage, open marriage. I don't even know anyone who is in an open marriage. I've heard of open marriages. I'm familiar with that, but polygamy, no. I knew it was common as far as when it Mormons. I thought it was more common among them, but it's been outlawed with them. I mean, it's prohibited within their religion now.
Oh, okay.
So, but no. Mm-mm.
What about you, Brian? Do you know of anybody?
I know some people who are in it without the title, right? So, I mean, polygamy is nothing historically. I'm a historian, so historically, polygamy is nothing new. I mean, but people misinterpret it sometimes, right? So let's just say people are talking about, well, the number one thing that comes up biblically is Solomon and an X amount of concubines and an X amount of wives. Well, the majority of the time, mass majority, I'm talking about like 9 out of 10 times, when men throughout history married another woman, it was for trade. It was for, I have spices, you have wool, and we can trade together, or it's protection. You are now my ally because I have your daughter, right? And if you ever screw me over, well, then the first things that's going to go is your daughter, right? So it's different reasons, different logical reasons for a kingdom to expand or get better resources. And that's why men married a lot of women back then to grow allies stronger and things like that. Now, of course, there was some lustful situations. We're not ruling that out, but historically that was what it was for. But people have turned it into more so a lustful thing. Oh, I've got I've got 2-3 women with me and this and that and this and that, more so because of lust rather than the traditional reasons that people were poly before. Because if I already have a wife and I'm going to marry a second one, no one goes to that second one's family and go, oh, well, we need to be allies. Well, for what? I mean, American families don't need to ally pretty much on anything as far as like building a kingdom type thing. You know, you don't have spices, I don't have minerals, and even if we did, that's not how we trade in America.
Right.
So, but people, let's just be honest, people are in poly, people are in open stuff. They just don't, they just haven't gone through the quote unquote legal steps or made it known. You know, there's somebody right now that's somebody's married and they've got a side chick and the wife knows that her husband has a side chick. Well, you're basically in poly at that point. Like a lot of people are quoting poly just to try to take out the word cheating, right? Things like that. So it's, you know, that's what most people are doing these days.
But
So,
is it cheating though if you are married to someone and you are allowing that person to have outside relationships? Is that really cheating?
Yes,
Because
because
you're
you took,
allowing it. You are allowing
well,
it. You're not. It's not. It's something. It's like, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. Is it cheating?
no, that's a good point. I think that raises a good question, but you know, what are the foundation? I mean, if you took vows under God to be faithful to this one person, whether that person gives you permission or not, it's cheating, right?
it's
So
adultery.
yeah, that's like if I went into a bank and the bank said, "Oh, you can rob me for $1 million and I won't tell anybody." It's not your money. You didn't
Ah,
earn it. And
right.
the bank's letting you do it, but then you can say, well, am I really robbing the bank? Am I stealing money if the bank lets me do it? Yeah, you still are stealing. That ain't your money. Even if the bank lets you, it's still not your money.
True. I want to just point out something. When I was doing research, do you know that bigamy is illegal, but adultery is not illegal? And I thought it was interesting because adultery is against God, right? But it's just like we just sin against God and it's like it's nothing.
Well, it's
Like,
only because adultery can't be proven if you want to lie about it.
but
Yeah,
God knows. But I mean,
yeah, but I mean, who's ethical enough to go, ooh, I'm going to sit on a stand and raise my right hand and say, yeah, I committed adultery that second, that time. Most people are going to lie about it because they want to cover the sin. They want to cover what they've done wrong. But even in a court of law, unless two people totally agree that they had sex with each other, or you have specific evidence like a camera or something where you can literally go, they had sex at this particular moment, as far as adultery concerned, then one person can say, yeah, I slept with them, and the other person can say, no, you didn't. And then you can't prove it one way or the other.
so true. But I'd like to read some of the terms I found. So, polygamy is when one male, two females. Polyandry is one female and two males, which would be freaking interesting, okay? Because men don't like other men to park in their garage. So, wow, I thought that was interesting. Um, I've seen, I mean, me and Felicia were talking about there was a show. It was Kim. What's Felicia, right?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
And about the show where two men and one woman. So I'd
Right.
like to know what that arrangement was like. You know what I'm saying? Because
It was crazy. The one of the guys worked nights, one of the guys worked during the day,
Jesus. So
and
she had no rest.
she slept. I mean, she had all three of them had their own room. So
You have to.
so she would, they would be invited to her room, like,
Like summoned.
yeah. But everybody had their own
I
bedroom.
guess so now I'm thinking like maybe one did something well and the other did something bad. I mean, shit. Or maybe if one is better with I mean, I'm sorry, because I was telling him earlier, I'm always thinking about disease, right? So in the case of Cody, one husband, four wives. So everybody has tasted everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if one steps out, Jesus take the wheel.
But I it's hard for me. I see these poly marriages or whatever. Like you said, this man had 4 women. Well, if you marry 4 women, I'm sure that y'all do stuff together, and some of them will adamantly say, no, we don't do anything together, blah, blah, blah. I believe they do.
Are you talking about sexually or just going
Yeah,
out together? Oh,
sexually.
yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
I would find it hard to believe. So let's jump into the scenario. This one was kind of interesting for me.
Agree.
Okay, so dear Grace, Kim, and Felicia. This is from anonymous woman. She writes in and she says, "My husband." Let me get my glasses. Yo, my bad. My husband became friends with a man that just started working for his company as a contractor 6 months ago, and this man has two wives. He married his first wife in Punta Cana in 2007 and the second one in Costa Rica in 2009. And he has one kid with each wife, 4 years old and 2 years old. And they all live in the same house. And the three of them share the same bedroom. And both women have legally changed their names to his. And they seem happy. What the? What is this? Okay, anyway. We also have a 4-year-old girl, and this summer we hung out with them, and they're truly nice people, and we went camping several times, and we have visited each other's homes a few times, and we've become close friends. That's a number one mistake. Anyway, last week he brought the topic about me considering the possibility of getting a sister wife, and tried to talk me into saying yes, but I said hell no, and told him that I'm not interested in hearing about it again. But today he brought it up again, and then I shut it down, and he got mad. And now he's been ignoring me and giving me silent treatment for the last 10 hours. Like, if other people are happy with that arrangement, that's fine. But I don't want it for me. So why can't he understand that? Who would like to start first?
Go
Brian.
somewhere with that. Go. Why are you still hemming and hawing with this guy? Why are you
It's
still
a husband,
talking
though.
about it? Why are you still bringing? Why is it still a thing? Once you said no, if he keeps bringing it up, you look, this conversation and this relationship that me and you have, and it's over. It's over. And I think she's interested. I'm sorry, though, but I kind of think it's kind
Why?
of in her interest because she's friends with him, because she is, because she's friends with him and she's staying in the relationship with him. And so her staying in the relationship and him keep asking, and now he's not talking to her, and now she's like, I just don't understand. Why can't we just all be buddies? Come on.
Honestly, I would have found it repulsive even hanging around them
I
because
know.
I wouldn't have understood that. Like, I couldn't just act normal. I have freaking questions, ma'am.
Exactly.
Ma'ams, I have questions.
Huh. Well, I
Like,
think differently. I don't think it's anything, and honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with befriending them or talking to them. They're people like anybody else. However,
Hmm.
if you have boundaries in your own personal relationship, the fact that you brought it up, that's just, like Grace and I were talking earlier, if we married and we both were Christian and then you decided you wanted to do something different, the expectation cannot be that I follow along with that, because that's not what I signed up for. That's those people, we know gay couples, we know all different type of couples, but we didn't sign up for that lifestyle. So now you're trying to change the game, and maybe he saw the light that this looks like a good deal and he wants to get in on it, but no. And he shouldn't even brought it back up. Once I said no, that was it. No, I'm not interested, but
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
You might want to watch what you introduce your spouse to, right?
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's bowling or a poly relationship. I mean, let's just say let's just say I have I've got a girlfriend and I introduce her to the world of basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and she's never really been in basketball before, but she does it initially because I love it so much. And then the more she learns about it, the more that we go to basketball games together or NBA games and we watch it together and have fun, it may turn into something that she dives into just because it opened a door that she'd never gone through and she's seen it a certain way. And she's like, I actually love this sport now. Like, it's something that I never thought I was going to like, but now I like it. and not just because, but it's because of the, it's through, right? And I'm just talking about something with sports. So if you introduce yourself, if you introduce your spouse to a couple who's poly, and and that man begin to see that, and to see the quote unquote advantages that he may have from it, or what that man was experiencing. Well, if one female is mad, if one wife is mad, then he can go to the other, right? If one wife won't cook, he can go to the other. And he's like, shoot, I mean, when you get mad, if I had a sister wife, shit, so it just be careful. But like both of y'all said too, once she says no, then he should have left it alone. However, Genesis chapter 3 teaches us that one of women's superpowers is the ability to persuade, and one of the cons of that superpower is the ability to be persuaded. Right? So a man's not going to stop normally at the first no. He's going to keep trying to persuade you, especially with what Felicia was talking about. If we're going to add a biblical sense to this and say that we're not cheating, we're a union under God, and we're not going to go outside of that. Well, when the enemy comes and tries to persuade the woman, he's not going to stop at the first no, right? He's going to keep going and going and going and going, and hopefully she breaks down one day.
But if that's the case, I agree with you. But if that's the case, you have to avoid most relationships or most people, because there are so many different types of relationships going on. You have relationships where you see two dads, two moms, like you said, this poly thing. I mean, it has to be a level of self-control in your own relationship.
No, you're right.
You're that easily influenced. To me, it wasn't easily influenced. It's something that he's thought about before.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I was going to say. That's right. Y'all have heard me say this so many times on this. This isn't new for her and her husband. He has thought of this before, right? Some version of poly, some version of, hey, would you have a threesome with me? Could I bring in another guy?
Right.
Something has happened prior to that loaded up to this point.
Exactly.
So to your point, Felicia, which I totally agree, she already knew this before. So if she knew this, there is no way she should have, even if he was like, hey, I want to introduce you to some friends of mine, hey, just before you trip out, they poly, she should be like, nope, we ain't going that route, because that opens up a gateway. So it's like if I'm a person who is financially irresponsible with money because of the strip club, right? I spend money in the strip club. I spend the bills and I spend, just crazy amount of money in the strip club. Right. And my wife says, and I asked my wife one day, hey, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. He owns a strip club and he's inviting us to it. The wife should go, oh, hell no. Especially if I've come out of that. If I've shown signs of that before and I'm trying to get out of it, right? Don't put me back in that position to tempt me, because I'm going to fail probably.
Right.
And Felicia, I understand what you said, and you make a valid point. You can't avoid everybody, because there's so many different types of families nowadays, right? Right. But there should be some type of boundaries. It's just like if I was married and my husband worked with a group of swingers, we are not
going out with them.
We are not going out. We are not hanging out.
Yeah, because I thought, didn't they work together or something like that?
Yes.
When they went camping, that's when they crossed the line. Because
exactly.
He's got them hanging out with these people and doing all these things with these people. That's where they crossed the line.
And see, they went on vacation with these people, so this lifestyle seems attractive. He's not seeing the in and outs, the daily. I mean, think about it. There has to be some competition in there. He probably likes one more than the other. It's just common nature. I mean, it's just what it is. That's life. Just like the sister wives. He has a favorite wife, although he says no. Negro, you have a favorite person. Okay. Yeah. It's one that you just, she could be useless in everything else, right?
Right.
But you just like her because maybe it's a person, whatever it is. So this guy hasn't seen the ins and outs of it really, because they got on vacation together. And what happens when you go on vacation? It's not real life, really, right?
Right. And you notice that a lot of times in these relationships, you have the main wife, which is usually wife number one, So she's the main wife who's picking these other women, or who's allowing these other women to come and sit. So like you said, there's a favorite. You can't serve two gods. You're going to love one and hate the other. You know,
Right.
even though you may like her a lot, you still like this one a bit more. And it'll show eventually. You know, people, you know, it's not like, it's like kids. You know, kids always think you have a favorite, but I might just love you different. Like you might need to be loved different. But there's
Right.
always going to be the thought of a favoritism, of a spend more time with her, or do more for this. It's always going to be that.
Hey
Right.
guys, if I keep going around to an ice cream shop, this ice cream shop right up the street from my house, I go there, but I don't go inside. You know, but I look from the outside and I go, wow, I bet they got really good ice cream inside. I go back the next day, man, I bet you they got really good ice cream inside. Well, you know what? If I keep coming back to that, well, the people inside is going to say eventually she's going to come inside and get some ice cream because she keeps coming back every time. That lady keeps coming back. She goes on trips. She hangs out with them. She goes to dinner with them. And they're like, yeah, you keep coming back to the ice cream shop. You haven't come inside yet, but you're going to come inside and get some chocolate. You're going to come inside. Some vanilla. You're going to get a swirl. You know, you're going to come inside eventually.
So, do you all think that they all having relations together?
Not now.
No,
Who?
no, no. I'm
The
talking about the
couple
married,
and
the couple, the throuple.
You mean together or with other people?
No, okay. So they all share the same room.
oh well, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
so.
So
Because
basically,
what are you going to do? A man's not going to go, "Hey, wife number two, could you step outside while I fondle wife
Exactly.
number
Come
one?"
on.
No, he's not going to
Come
do that.
on.
So if he starts fondling wife number one, odds are wife number two is not just going to sit there and go, "Oh, I'm gonna go sleep." No,
Yeah.
there's going to be a
Throw her
time
in on action
where she
too.
joins in, right?
Right. Yeah.
God bless them, because baby, they
Because
cannot.
that's an expectation. You're not going to go into a situation like that and think that this poly situation is going to have a lot of individualism, like a lot of what's the word I'm saying, exclusiveness, right?
No.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be. Hey, well, you only mess with me. You can't mess with her at a certain time. That's just my time, right? And that time is on Monday and Tuesday. You deal with me and you can't mess with her. Although she lives in the same bed with me, you can't do anything with her and it's all mine. And she gets Wednesday and Thursday and we share Friday. No, you know, it's going to cross. It's going to cross sooner or later. So yes, they're more than likely having relations.
And think about it, he may be cheating on both of them, because after
Exactly.
a period of time, both the women menstrual cycle will sync up. So for a whole week, they're both gonna be out of business.
Right?
Yeah.
Dang.
And they
You
may be
know.
cheating on him if they're willing to share one man.
Right.
Then they might be skipping. I mean, it's a whole.
Yeah.
That's just multiplying the chances of something's going to be totally jacked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because somebody could feel like I'm not getting enough attention, so I'm gonna step out. You know.
Somebody's saying it's gonna
Yeah.
Then
get
you
hurt.
introduced a whole new person into your
Whole new
situation.
person, whole new
Somebody's
whole new
saying it's gonna get
diseases,
hurt.
and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. Because
I bet you.
this is not a cultural thing. A cultural thing would be different. If I was married to 4 wives in South Africa, and those wives were an arrangement, and then all of a sudden my wife just left, that could be a cause for war, right? That is something that is serious.
Right.
Like that is a serious offense. She could be totally, there's almost one thing worse in Africa than death, and that's total exile out of a tribe. Like you're a person with no name, you're a person with no tribe. You're just a nomad walking around, and like Robbie, I saw you kind of like shaking your head. You know, like that's bad if you don't belong to something. And she could be exiled. She could be just thrown out, casted out, never to ever take a man again. No man's gonna want her. And those are different honorable cultural understandings back then. But there's nothing wrong with 2 women being in a poly with one man, and then the woman just going, I'm gonna go check on another dude since you ain't paying me no attention like you paying wife number one. And like you say, that introduces a whole bunch of BS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100 Black says just ain't gonna work. One is difficult enough times. I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
I
One
read
is
about
difficult.
the poly relationships, and they talk about how it builds family relationships. You know, the kids are more happier in that kind of relationship because you have more people to nurture them.
You know,
That
I always
bullshit.
wonder where they get this
Listen,
data from because there's a lot of made up data. Like, you know, where do you, I mean, if polygamy is illegal, who's running these tests? Who's saying, how are you, by what measure are you measuring the kids' happiness? You know, come on. The
Yeah, the
kids
same
may
people
be
that's running the
happy.
family, same people that's running the Family Feud stuff. Hey, we asked 100 people. Where did you ask them 100 people at? You didn't ask me. You didn't put no poll on the internet. You walked outside, or you didn't, or you didn't. You may have asked 4 people in the production room, and they may have just gave they random answers, and then
Right.
you said, "Well, we asked 100 people." No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
yo, CJ's out of Facebook jail. He says, "What's up, my black queens and king? I'm a little late. What I missed, CJ? This topic, honey, polygamy. But let me ask you this: how would this guy feel? Because I just found out about polyandry, one woman, 2 men. How do you
Mhm.
think this dude will feel if one of the wives says, "You know what? Let's add an additional man."
No. No. I really think these men are narcissists, you know. I
Oh
don't,
yeah.
and I'm
Oh
not just throwing,
God.
you know, people throw that term around, but you really have to be
Yeah.
able to manipulate women that are not even thinking about being poly to become poly. I mean, you really have to be some type of personality to do that,
And
you
then,
know.
did you see they both took on his last name?
Uh-huh.
I want to know what he's doing.
Right.
What the front door is this? They took on his last name.
Maybe it's about money though. He may be taking care of them better than they've ever
That's
been
not
taken
true.
care of before.
I was watching Sister Wives and both the wives were working.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. They're not stay-at-home moms, honey.
No.
Oh wow.
If
And
I'm on that
Cody's
sister wife, I'm not going to a job.
I know.
I ain't doing shit. I'm having babies and I'm staying at the house.
I'm not
Because
even doing that. I'm just
I'm
gonna
gonna
be at the
keep my
house.
position. Okay, I'm gonna keep my position. Because if you think about the mindset, they're probably competing anyway. And Cody is balding. Okay, I'm sorry, Cody ain't fine. Like I'm trying to figure out what is so freaking
Why
wonderful.
do you say
Cody is
that?
balding here, and then his hair is. Sir, cut that shit off. Okay, number one. Number two, you told your wife that you do not want her, and she says she wants to leave. That's wife number one. And then your ass is crying. Why she wants to leave? She's messing up the family. No, sir, you messed up the family when you brought these 3 other trollops. Okay, he pissed me off with these whiny ass. He was just whiny. Let
But
me read
to
some comments.
me, a man with 4 wives is never enough. One's not enough. Two's not enough. Three's not enough. Four. Tell me why in the US of A would any man need 4 women in
Because
one household?
you want each wife to meet a need.
But
Each
if
wife
they're living in the
to
same
meet a
house,
need.
everybody's having their period at the same time. Everybody's bleeding at the same week.
Meet a
Let's be honest.
need.
They are all
One
syncing
may
up. It's just
one may one may meet his emotional need, one
maybe.
his sexual need, one may meet financially his need. There's a lot
But
of
Cody,
needs.
I think
Okay,
Cody
so
is trading. So
so
he
so
has money.
from a man's point of view, what's the only thing you can give a man with power to satisfy him? Do y'all know?
No, what?
More power. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing a man with power, the only thing you can give him to satisfy him is more power. That's why throughout history, kingdoms have fallen because men have not been satisfied at the positions that they were. Kings have not been satisfied at the position. Rome is one of the biggest examples of that, right? Rome just said, screw it, we're going to try to take over the whole world. We've got, at one point, the Roman Empire touched 2/3 of the known world at that time, right? And each Caesar was like, nah, I want more. Nah, I want more. Nah.
Yeah.
So it's to Felicia's point to where she was like, what in the world, you're going to want one, you're going to want two, you're going to want three. And what in the world would a man need 9 wives for? Because he wants more. I've got 9 wives, but that ain't enough. I want a 10th one because it's just like a car, like you're collecting cars at that point. Sooner or later, anything physical will become common, right?
Right.
It's until you put some type of emotional, intangible investment in it, does it always stay somewhat brand new. But whatever cars we all bought 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it became common and we wanted a new car. If you bought a house 5 years ago, it became common and then you wanted a new house, whatever the case may be. So especially with this poly situation, a lot of these men, and Kim mentioned something like feeling a need, but most of it is because of lustful situations anyway, right?
Well,
so if I get wife number 1 because of lust, I want another one because of lust, and I want another. That's the only thing that's going to fill me, because these women sooner or later become common.
Well, okay. So what I was reading when I did research, a lot of people in these relationships, they didn't get together before sex. It was more for having large families because the men wanted a lot of children.
Yeah, but that ain't that new age stuff. That ain't new age stuff.
Okay, so let me get to some comments, guys.
Okay.
CJ says a lot of people are in polygamy relationships right now. The other person just don't know it.
What I said earlier.
Yes. Eric says the main reason tends to be financially motivated. Correct. From what I read, that and they want large families. Or sometimes, they are products of polygamy parents, right? Parents that practice that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually normal to them.
That's just like that. The people that had the 15, 20 kids, the Duggars or the whatever, what do you call them? They had like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But they weren't polygamous though. They just were one woman.
No, but I'm just saying the daughters were wanting that type of relationship as well and have a bunch of kids, because they grew up like that.
Right. Yeah. If a man, CJ says, if a man can convince a woman to be in a polygamy relationship, that brother got some what? Some game? Some what? Is he well endowed? I mean, I don't know. 100 Black says 1 for each sexual endeavor. Okay. I mean, but think about it. Just dealing with one woman, Jesus. I mean, if you think about yourself, right? If you think about yourself as the type of person you are and your personality quirks, can you imagine 4 of you? No, I can't.
4 women in one house?
No. I don't think we would get along.
We would not. No. Because when you are screwing my husband on Wednesday and I can maybe hear you, I'm going to pick you up. I am. I'm sorry. I can't do it. It's not for me.
How can you nurture any of these relationships? How can you nurture any of these relationships? You have 4 different women with 4 different needs, with 4 different wants. You're one man. And I hope for the span of your life, you don't need any pills or any extra help in that department. I really hope that you don't, because now we're all in trouble,
Eric says, I thought teamwork makes the dream work. I don't think so.
Yeah, 4.
No.
With me, that's 5. That's a starting 5 on a basketball team.
Okay.
Can I ask you guys a question? Now, what's going on with Nick Cannon and him having so many children? Is that kind of like a
basically
relationship?
But no. That's more this one thing. Lottery ticket. If you yes, it is. These women want a lottery ticket. Right? These women.
He is polyamorous.
But hold on. These women. What I'm saying is these women want a lottery ticket. If you get a baby by Nick Cannon, you are set for life. It's the same reason why women go after football players. It's the same reason why women go after basketball players. If I all of a sudden came into $10 million, right? You know what I'm saying? And people knew it, I would be a major attraction to the women who have paid me zero attention. And it's not because of me, it's because of my money. And if I can, you have sports like the NBA has a rookie introduction type camp, right? And one of the main things they talk about is how many women are about to come at you, what you should, you shouldn't do, how you should not talk to these women because they know everything about you. Mind you, you're a collegiate athlete and you've gone on interviews for your college and they ask you, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite this? These women know more about you than you know about yourself approaching a man. And they are trying to do one thing. They are trying to get a lottery ticket. And that major lottery ticket, screw marriage, because you're probably going to sign a prenup if you're smart. But a baby is going to give you that lottery ticket, right? And that's all they want that's all they want people like Nick Cannon for. That's the main reason. Now, if he wants to have all these, if he wants to sow his royal oats and have all these babies with different women, oh yeah, that's a whole nother story. But these women want him for that lottery ticket.
The Nick Cannon thing is a lot to me. I watched an interview actually recently with one of his girlfriends, and she said that when she met him, he was upfront about it, and that's the life they have, and he spends, time with all his children, and he's a good daddy, blah 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 blah. Girl, bye. But anyway,
no, he can't be there for all of his kids.
One thing
now, I think he's a reproductive abuser. A reproductive abuser. He goes out and gets all these women and have all these children. You can't tell me that brother can't put on no condom.
Well,
you don't want to. Okay, before we continue,
reproductive abuser.
Okay, I just want to add one thing. I was listening about another, it wasn't a podcast, it was just maybe a TikTok, but this guy was saying that Nick had lupus, or I can't remember what disease he had, but eventually his kidney will go out and he will need another kidney transplant, and it's easier to get a match from a child.
From a child, yeah.
Oh my God. So let me see. Let me try to get some disease. Anyway, let me read some comments because that shit, okay.
Yeah.
Facebook user says I'm late, but I only shared the good news of Jesus. I wish I would. Not my life or my PH. Girl, listen, I think about PH all the time. I think about this stuff. I don't understand how people don't think about that. Like let's take Cody, because I watch that show. He sleep with all of them. You think all of them are right? Anyway, let me read some more comments. Y'all, it's too much. Teresa says, hey sis, there's probably a lot of competition between the woman and their children. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Absolutely. Mika says, that's me. My name isn't working for some reason. I knew it was you, girl. And Rita says, hi, Grace. Hi. Eric, you are funny. Let me say what Eric said. Eric said, regarding Nick, if he doesn't have the bread, none of them will be willing to into his period.
See?
Go digging 101. Yeah, for real though, and nobody gonna have, no. I mean,
and the bad part about the Nick Cannon situation is I don't care what he says. I don't care how much money he has. Hold on, you can read that next comment if you want to. Go ahead.
Okay, the average woman in America is not going for that polygamy. Take it from high school. Oh, if a young man has job potential right there, the girls see promise. Yeah, I mean, I don't know any woman personally that's gonna go for it. Eric says he's not an abuser, and I think he's talking about Nick. He has the means and willing participants, so therefore he's doing what he wants.
Yeah,
he's doing what he is being allowed to do.
Being allowed to do.
They're willing. I mean, they okay with it. So
he cannot be there for all of his kids, right? So there is a level of neglect. There is a level of what am I trying to say? When you're being absent in those children's lives, like it's already hard enough for him as a public figure, a person who's been in entertainment. Even if he had one child, that would be very difficult to continue to constantly be in that child's life, running shows, doing music, doing this, doing that. And he's got like 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. He is neglecting kids just because he can't be there for all of them. And especially if they all live in different cities, he'll have to go visit one for a couple of months or for a day, fly to another one, or fly them all out. They can't all stay. They got to go back with their moms. And it's just, it's in a situation like this, Nick is going to be who he is. It's the women who have this mindset going, oh, I want a baby by a man who's it's kind of like those women. It's kind of like those women who have a baby by that dude that was in North Carolina that was they had to put an order out him to get a hysterectomy or vasectomy. Vasectomy. I mean, I'm sorry. Which one is it? My brain just.
The men get vasectomies.
Yeah.
Vasectomy. Yes, the vasectomy died for some reason. But he had 26 kids by like 18 or 19 different women.
Wow.
And the instant question, now mind you, he wasn't rich at all. Like he was
not gonna happen.
He was working at like Dollar General, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the question is, it's not him that's the problem. Like, yes, he needs to have some accountability, but the real swing is, why are these women having unprotected sex and babies by a dude who's got 10, 11, 12? Why do you want to be the 15th? Why do you want to be
sometimes
the
they don't
21st?
know. Sometimes they don't know. How can this man have 15 kids and be an active part in these kids' life? You know, he's not daddy of the year. He
This dude was known in the community. Like everybody knew who he was. The same thing as Nick Cannon. Everybody knows Nick Cannon's got 15 trillion kids. Why would you be the 15th and 1 trillion? Because of money. That's it.
Yeah.
I read about
and
this
she
one
said,
guy
y'all.
I read about this one guy who was having sex and he was poking holes in his condom because he wanted to have multiple children with multiple women.
He's a dumbass.
Wow.
Let me read this comment. Mika says, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Abuse.
Yeah, and these poor kids have to get on a schedule for him to come to their birthday party, you know, call his assistant. So I think the same special you seen, Grace, where they have to call his assistant and, you know, tell him when the birthday party is and see if he can fit it in his schedule. It's like this, so neglectful of the children.
I'm sorry, I can't. And Rita says Nick Cannon is just a hoe. Period. He is. I agree. I mean, like I used to watch him in Living Color. I thought he was pretty cool. Wasn't he on what's that
Not
show?
in Living Color. He wasn't in Living Color.
He wasn't in Living Color.
The other one, the other show, Wilding Out.
Okay.
Wilding something.
Dang, you went from 1990 to 2015.
But yes, and then he was on Nickelodeon, right? Wasn't he?
I don't know if Nick was on Nickelodeon.
I don't know, but he was somewhere. But
Why are you watching Nickelodeon?
I have kids.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Jesus. Teresa said it's selfish. It is selfish. I mean, think about it. It's hard enough to meet every need of your children now, and you like it's just two people. Like say if you have in a 2-parent household, then to have all these other lives that you created, and then why the front door didn't you use a condom? Like
because he didn't have to.
Wait. Did they all go to have tests before he embarked? Went down that road. Did anybody go have tests, or we just met you? I like you. We're gonna do this. And if
maybe even if he did, let's just say he was responsible, and they all had tests prior to, and because the women would have to have some type of common sense. If he's got 4 kids, and that next woman's going to have his 5th. That means that he's had multiple partners before. So if she is going to even try to engage in that, she would be smart. It would behoove her to go, hey, let's go both get tested, right? But let's just say Nick was responsible with this and he got tested and she got tested and they're all good. He is going, I want to have another kid, right? And she's going, oh, well, I'm only after you for this money because if you didn't have no bread, this wouldn't even be a conversation, right? So he's not gonna wrap up. He doesn't want to wrap up. And now he doesn't want to wrap up with certain women. I'm pretty sure that he's going around, screwing other females when he's not with one of his baby mamas. And if he doesn't want to have a child by this woman that he's screwing, well, of course he's probably going to do something to prevent that or be cautious about it.
Have you seen the women that he got babies with? Have you seen them?
Yeah, they all look the same.
Yeah, he has a type, definitely.
Yeah, they have a type.
Yeah,
it's just that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just one is with men, and I've said this before. With men, sometimes we do a we have an upgrade mentality, especially when we were younger, like in the 20s, maybe even 30s. Like a man would get a female, and let's just say she's a good female, and he's not too good. And of course, she knows this prior to, and she wants to try to change him. But he gets her, and then he kind of screws her over. But she's an 8.5. She's missing. But she's got bigger eyes, and he likes tighter eyes, and she's got short hair, but he likes a little longer. Well, then he locks in the 8.5, and then he tries to find the 8.7. Oh, well, I found the 8.7, so I'm going to get rid of the 8.5, and I get the 8.7. But the 8.7's booty isn't as big as the 8.5. So I'm going to try. We have this upgrade mentality of we're not just going to lock one in. We're going to find this one and then go get a better one, or go get something that the one that we currently don't have. So same thing with Nick. All of them literally, you can put them in a type, except one's got black hair, one's got short hair, one's got this one, but they all generally look like they could be cousins.
Eric says, Grace, Nick was not just on Wild 'N Out, he created and owns Wild 'N Out. It makes all the difference. Hell yeah, that's why they're having them babies and are risking their lives and their pH. Okay. Teresa says, Brian, I'm finding out that common sense is not so common.
No, it's not. Common sense is not common at all. God gave us common sense, and we rarely use it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. So I wanted to add that I noticed in the scenario when he brought up the topic, right, that about getting a sister wife, and now when she said she's not interested, now he's not talking to her anymore. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think he thought would happen?
I don't know, but she needs to take note that if this happens when I get the sister wife, you're not talking to me no more. Guess what happens when the sister wife gets here? There's not gonna be a chance for our marriage. Because you're just gonna go to her. So I wouldn't dump him. Child, he a lost cause at this point.
It's yeah. And Rita says Tristan Thompson is just like Nick Cannon. They both are the same stupid.
At least Nick ain't messing with one of them Kardashians. Golly, they are.
No, he did. Anyway, actually, he did. He did
with one.
With Kim.
Oh, well, he did.
But he never no babies with him though.
But what about? So you said the silent treatment. What do you want to happen when if you gave the silent treatment to a man, and regardless if you want your space or not, you would be just as upset, or probably more upset, if he sooner or later didn't try to unsilent your silent treatment, right? If he didn't try to make it better, if he didn't ask what was wrong, no matter how many times you walked around the house and he was like, "Hey, baby, you okay?" And then you're like, "Man, silent treatment." You sooner or later want him to soothe you out of that silent treatment, right?
I was wanting to read my damn mind, okay? Read my mind.
Well, we can't. That's one of y'all problems. We can't. We're not mind readers. That's one of y'all problems. But anyway, it's the same. It's the reverse psychology of that. Yeah. If she says no and he goes, and then he ignores her, that's a strategy to try to bring her around. To try to ease him out of the silent treatment by going, okay, well, let's talk about it. Okay, well, what's your point of view? Okay, well, all right, I'm not going to do it, but I want to see why you want to, something where he can have another avenue to try to attack the situation.
He's not going to stop. He's going to keep going.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. I said, just don't stop.
And the truth of the matter is, I feel, just reading the scenario, that she's easily disposable. He's gonna get rid of her and find somebody, because to be honest, he's hanging around these people. I'm sure they're hanging around with other people that are in these relationships.
Exactly.
So she can be replaced. The biggest mistake was starting this friendship from the beginning. I would have been repulsed by it. I wouldn't have mistreated them. I'm just saying,
that's on him. He was curious about it. Because if you don't like with somebody, like if you're a guy and you don't want to swing with your wife, why would you hang out with dudes that swing with their wife? You know what I mean? He had to find that interesting, or he had to find something about it that he liked, because it's like, why would you even, like if you have friends that like to go to the strip club and you're a guy and you're really not into the strip club, I mean, eventually that friendship will die off because, you're not doing what they do. You're not on the same vibration. Y'all are not, but apparently they connected. And so it's like, yeah, he's not going to stop. So she needs to just
No, so she needs
let
to
that
make
go.
a decision about what she wants
Yeah.
to do.
If
I
I
mean,
start
it's
coming,
sad.
if I start coming over your house, we're more than friends.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well,
I
we're
start
going on
coming
trips
over,
now. We're going on
We
trips together
trips,
now.
we're going
We
on
vacations,
went
our
trips
camping.
kids are
now.
together.
We're more than friends.
Right.
We went
Come on.
camping. Okay, we have established a relationship,
You
and
slept over. You slept over.
And I'm sure the women have talked to her about it.
Yeah. How great it is, how wonderful it is. Oh, we just love each other and it just
And I
works.
think that was the purpose of the trip. We go on the trip together. Look how good the kids play. Look at them. Look how good they
but
get
see,
along. That's the purpose of the trip.
There you
but see,
go.
she
There you
says
go.
they've been camping several times and have visited each other's homes several
Mm-hmm.
times, and we
Times.
become close friends.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have enough time to observe this lifestyle.
Right.
She probably sees some stuff she doesn't like, but of course it's more beneficial because these are Latin women, right? So they are catering to this man's every need because most Latina women are also have been trained to be wives in a sense, and they foreign women too. Oh yeah, they're catering to his ass
Oh,
every
Yeah.
that
day.
almost
So
shows where the animal is in the bush and he's waiting and looking for his prey. He's waiting. He's looking. He's
Mm-hmm.
waiting. When can I strike? When that's what that dude was doing. When can I strike? When can I strike? Invite
And I'm
again.
sure,
When can I strike? Not now. Now, okay, wait. Okay, I'm gonna wait another week.
and
Bam.
I'm sure his friend has given him tips on how to break this news to her. I'm sure he's giving him some advice on how to get into
Of
this.
course, of course,
but
of
she's
course.
also had a level of, so Eric's got a pretty good comment
Yeah.
that's or has got a good comment that I was thinking about. Like he's talking about we'll read that comment before I say anything.
Now, those in multiple wife or husband arrangements, we have to accept that they have made a decision to set boundaries and arrangements to make it work for them. Actually, you would need to have a high degree of EQ to enter into something like this. Yes, I agree. You would have to
Yeah.
be
So
very smart to do this.
yes. So they have whatever, regardless of what we think would work and wouldn't, they have accepted something, whether it's blind acceptance or willful acceptance, or, that's what they want to do. They've got it. They've accepted something that works for them, the boundaries, the decisions, the arrangements, and all of that. With what you're talking about in this scenario, she has allowed her man and she has allowed herself to be in that situation more than
All up
once.
in it.
So
Mm-hmm.
he's not just to mainly put this on. She has allowed it to come into their marriage. The old saying, if you lie with dogs, you'll sooner or later get fleas, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure that she may have had interest and then she was like, well, I'm not interested anymore, or in the back of her head. But regardless, she has allowed this more than once, camping multiple times. Everybody's been over each other's house multiple times. And like, I don't know if it was Felicia or Kim that said this, but it was like, well, you never know. The man in the poly tried to break it down to her husband how to break this to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the women may have been trying to
Mm-hmm.
alternately explain how, this and this works. And yeah, girl, it's hard, just like anything else, but, and all this other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
there's more conversations that are going on besides, what are we going to cook for dinner? And what are your self-love activities and all that type of stuff? When they're all together, there are some very pressuring conversations going,
Yeah.
right? There's
Most
something
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
that's working because it's just not all him. She's allowing this multiple times.
Because she all up in
Yeah.
the Kool-Aid. All
Right.
up in it.
She needs to take, I mean, I don't know how she's going to get out of this, honestly, because now he's tripping. So I don't know. 100 Black says it may look okay in public, but behind them doors, I agree. There is
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hell. They cannot be. Because, I mean, okay, on a spiritual perspective, that's not God's standard for marriage. Okay. So when you're living outside of that, I can't see it being peaceful. Because even when you're living in God's standard, There's shit that happens. So it has to be on a whole different degree. Let me read this comments. Eric
Mhm.
says, on the surface, having three incomes trumps one or two in a single home. Paying a third of the bill beats paying all. Having three sets of hands and two other systems with just the everyday challenges of life can be appealing and make sense to some. It's just what it is. It's the reality.
Yeah, but
I
sometimes
don't buy that.
sometimes with that is that you've got the man not doing anything and the women doing everything, or you've got the man doing everything and the women aren't doing everything. Like I understand what Eric's trying to say, and he's got a point with that, but that's not every poly. Like there are a lot of polys out there where it's not. If you've got three people, it's only still one income, regardless of
Right.
where that income comes from, or just two incomes. But it's just I mean, it's almost like if a woman and a man, if I'm going to switch this now. If a man has a wife and the wife has nothing but male friends, right? There are women out there that have way more male friends than female friends, right?
Mhm.
And during their relationship prior to getting married, the engagement, you know, she let him know, hey, there are guys who try to holler at me all the time, and some of them used to holler at me, and I said no, but we became friends. But everything was cut off. But then sometime during the marriage, he was allowing his wife to go hang out with men, or he'd be like, well, you can hang out with your homeboys as long as I'm with you, stuff like that. That is opening up all these type of floodgates that he won't be able to close if his wife decides to push an envelope, or the men that are in his wife's face decides to push envelopes. There's so much to that you don't even want to go through, because once those waters start flowing, if there's a force in this world that you don't want to start moving, that's water, right? There's nothing you can do. You can try to get under it, or you can try to get over it, man. Once water starts, it's the most destructive thing.
Kim, would you like to address this? Polygamy was norm throughout the Bible, Grace. Yes, yes,
Yeah, we
but
talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yes,
Brian brought
but
up the fact that with polygamy, Eric, back in the Bible, it was meant for trade purposes. Um, I also think it was for prestige. The wives that you have, the concubines that you have, was also for prestige. So, not in today's society, though. So,
no,
yeah,
and I mean,
biblically, yeah.
well, it may work for some because, like CJ was saying, people are in polygamous relationships and don't even know it. I
Yeah,
mean,
that ain't
Or they
working.
or they do know it,
That's
and they're
not
still
working.
and they're still in competition. I know females right now that have multiple babies with a man. Let's just say the female has two kids by a man who's got eight kids, and the two kids came in the mush of the eight kids. It's not like he had six kids before, and then she met him or married him, and now he's got eight. No, she had these two kids while he was getting three or four other women pregnant at the same time, and she knew this. So it's not, that's what we were talking about earlier. A lot of these people are in poly stuff, and they know it, and then some of them don't know it. It's just people are going to validate their BS all day long. And I'm not judging
yeah,
poly in that situation, but people will validate what they want to validate.
that just wouldn't work for me. Let me just be honest. I couldn't do it. I'll kill somebody. I ain't gonna lie. Mika says in most of the relationships, 90% of the women are doing the work at home, and the man is going to work 100% of the time. Eventually, Barbara is going to do too much. Now, me and my husband will work it out. Yeah, somebody's gonna get the short end of the stick.
Mhm.
I mean, just like with okay, so I was watching something on I guess Facebook a while ago, and it was a relationship where there was um two men and one woman, right? No, 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 not that one. Oh God, I watched another one. The one, okay, so he was in a monogamous relationship. He couldn't have babies, right? Then he met this other woman. She was a friend of theirs, and she became into the relationship. And then shortly afterwards, she got pregnant. Now, when the woman is talking, when they're doing the interview, you can see the pain in this woman.
Which woman? The woman in the monogamous relationship?
Well, she's not monogamous now, but the
Right.
one that
Can't have the
um
baby.
Can't have babies.
the
The
one
one
that
that
can't
can't
have
have
the
babies.
baby. Yeah, because they just got into the relationship. Sister got pregnant like this, like she blinked and she was knocked up. Okay. And now she was like, well, I'm a mother to her too, but it's not the same thing, especially when you've gone through all these fertility treatments and it's not working. And then he meets Susie and Susie gets pregnant when he just looks at her vagina. I mean, can you imagine what this woman feels like? I can't imagine. Like somebody is going to see Jesus very soon.
Dang.
I'm shoot. Shit.
Somebody gonna see Jesus? How you gonna send him there?
I know, right?
You gonna poison somebody? Watch.
No, I'm not gonna poison you. Eric says, I just saw a Facebook reel where a woman was explaining why her husbands were able to agree to the arrangements. Like monogamy, there are pros and cons to each arrangement. Bump that. Andre said, Grace said, I'll kill somebody. I believe her.
She's an expert at headbutting.
Shush. That's so not funny. Eric says, sounds like Abraham and Sarah and Grace. You know what? And then look what that happened. Look what happened. She said, go on now. Go on, Abraham. I can't have a baby. You go on with Hagar. And then what happened?
She got mad.
Get rid of that woman and her child. Get rid of that woman and her child.
Because that's just the nature of people. You can't help it. And I want this woman to tell her husband, you know what, baby? Yes, we can be in a polygamous relationship, but I want another man. Let's see how that will work. He ain't going for that. He is not going for that. But since you want to be 3 people in this union, let's get a man. How about that?
Okay.
Well, yeah, and we are talking about different times here. You know, in Mother Africa, even in the Bible days, even in Roman culture, Japanese culture, right? The women are groomed to be in poly situations. They're groomed to be they're groomed to be the principal wife or the third wife or the fourth wife. They're groomed that way. So when they get in this situation, they know their place. They know what to do and what not to do. We're talking about Americanized women, and it's Americanized Black women. They're not, most Black women are not good. They want, in most relationships, somebody's selfish. Like I'm very selfish when it comes to my relationship, right? I don't want the woman that I'm with. I do not want her to be shared. I don't want her cheating. I don't want her, her giving out. I don't want her entertaining another dude. I'm very selfish in that. Once you hold my hand, that's the only hand you're going to hold. If you kiss, I'm the only person with you going to kiss. I'm very selfish when it comes to that. I'm not jealous. I'm just saying I'm selfish in that manner. But in other cultures, especially back in the day, women were groomed for that situation. Like, I mean, check the movie Coming to America, right? What did she say? She said, ever since I was born, I was trained to serve you. That's literally what used to happen in Mother Africa and in other countries. But so in situations like that, if she's the third wife, she knows her place as the third wife. She knows that her kids will not get the father's inheritance. She knows that her kids will have to wait in line for a lot of stuff, and she's got to train her kids that way. She knows that she's third in line. That stuff don't work over here. Women don't raise women to be in poly situations in America. No.
Baby, I don't give a damn. I was born in Africa, born and raised, was trained from the time I can remember. This shit ain't happening. It's not.
But you became more Americanized too.
No, but even if I was there, I wouldn't have done that. They would not be okay with me.
Well, you better be the fourth wife and hush.
I will freaking not. Like I said, somebody will see Jesus, okay? Or Muhammad, because back then I was Muslim. Mika says, not see Jesus. Girl, I'm not, I can't, I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be able to.
Has everybody seen The Woman King?
No.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. I was going to compare what Grace just said in The Woman King, because something happened like that where, I ain't going to be no fifth wife.
So
Eric
good,
says,
right?
And what Grace said, that's polyamory, right? Yeah, polyamory. is
Yeah,
where you
polyandry.
can have multiple relationships with different people, male, female, whatever. Like it's just a big. To me, that reminds me of being swingers. You can just go with anybody. Everybody
Right.
knows it's not cheating, so I can see everybody if I want to. The hell? Oh no! Each person can have another relationship outside the
Oh,
core relationships. No, that's what that is.
you
Yeah.
just said it's not cheating. It's not
Yeah, you
cheating.
just said it
If
wasn't
we
cheating.
all
You
agree.
said earlier
No,
it
I'm
was.
saying no. I'm saying what
No.
they saying, not what I
Yeah.
believe. I think it's cheating, but I'm saying people that are in those relationships because you'll know I watch videos up until this point, and they don't feel it's cheating because
Mm-mm.
everybody's in
Oh, I thought
agreement.
you said that you
I
thought it
did
wasn't
too.
cheating.
I'm with
Oh
Brian.
Yeah,
I
see,
God,
was
Kim, we were
no,
gonna catch her, wasn't we? Yeah, we were gonna catch her,
no.
Kim.
I never said that, sir. 100 Black says, I'm in a situation where I observe how two women react towards my decisions when I need to make them pertaining to, right? America does not promote polygamy. That is the real reason it does not work.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, true. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's a,
yeah. I mean,
and then
if
yeah.
America said that Dr. Thunder drink was the number one drink of America, then Dr. Thunder drink would his power of persuasion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's not. It's not for various reasons. It's not
No, it's not.
traditional in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's not for everybody. Whoever is in the situation, may the good Lord bless and keep you. Cause I don't know how you're sleeping. So, guys, we're coming to an end now. It's after 8. Do you have any final thoughts? Kim, let me ask this question. And I didn't know the answer. But if William came to you and said, Kim, I want to have another baby.
Ah,
If William said, Kim, I want to have another baby, what would your response be, Kim?
No. That's over and done with. That's over. We're done. I'm 55. No, we ain't having no more babies. Grandchildren. Look forward to that. No, no more children. No. And I would not get into polygamy. I'm not down with an open marriage. But for those people out there that have open marriages and are okay with other partners, and you guys are making it work, and you guys say it's successful, and you guys are happy, I can't see that lasting a
Me
long
neither.
time,
Mm-mm.
years and years and years. I can see the newness of it in a relationship being all fresh and new and it being exciting, maybe the first couple of years. But after a while, I think that that's just, it's going to get old. And I just
Yeah,
don't see it
agreed.
working as far as long term. I can't see someone being in a relationship like that for 25 years. I just can't see that working.
So Eric says, I don't think it's that open. There are rules to it, I believe, regarding polyamory. So it's not a free for all. Um, I think, of course, there has to be rules. But I was watching, what's her name? Jada Pinkett's daughter. She's lives that lifestyle.
why in the world are y'all listening to her and her mama? Just
Oh,
shut off the red table. Why y'all listening to that
hush
female?
now. 100
Golly, they
Black
are the
talks.
worst
Oh,
family.
love
They are
you.
the
We love
worst
you
family
too.
to listen to. I don't
So
give a damn what they
I
do.
had to do research, sir, and I did my research. I was listening while I was working today. Eric
No,
said,
don't
Kim
listen to
rolled her eyes so damn hard. Kim said, I will kill William dead, okay? Shit. And Rita said, awesome podcast, Grace. Thank you, Anrita. 100 Black said, what did he say? Fidelity in marriage. Mm. I mean, it's hard enough being married, period.
Doesn't have to be.
Life, okay, when people come, I mean, it's hard enough being married. It is. Mika says, Brian went in.
Yeah. The people listening to some folks who they,
Shush, okay.
they're
So,
the worst.
Felicia, if your husband approached you, what would you do, sister? I think I know.
First of all, he wouldn't approach me with anything like that. Not seriously, but no. That's a no-go for me. But I would tell him, do what makes him happy. If that makes you happy, you go find someone that wants to live that lifestyle with you because you only live once, but that person won't be me.
Yes,
Mhm.
tear yo, basically. I feel you. What about you, Brian? If you were married and your wife says, baby, I want to have a boyfriend, but I want to do it legally, what you gonna tell her?
Well, I would tell uh Nia Long. since she's not gonna be Nia Adoke anymore. Maybe. I would tell her, okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's why I got Steve Harvey daughter as the second wife and Lisa Ray as the third wife. I mean, you go do your thing. I just replace you. I remember I started this scenario when I got 4 wives, so I can just replace her and get another one.
Yeah, you already know them. I love it. I
But
love
you know
it.
what though? I think if a man has that many women, he's gonna have to have more than just staying his ass at home. You're gonna have to have some money. Because I'm
Yeah.
sorry, if I'm gonna be miserable and I agree to this shit, I need to not ever work in my life. I'm sorry.
Well, guess what? Guess what? I know women. I know women who are dealing with men who have multiple girlfriends, and they ain't the only one, and they know they ain't the only one, and they got all of them got babies, and he broke, and he ain't doing nothing except getting taken care of by every single one of them. You know, when one of them don't want to give him money, he go to this one. When one of them don't want to go to stay at their crib, he go do this one. So no, you ain't got to have money. You, for some reason, you don't. I mean, you don't.
You just gotta have game.
Yeah, you gotta have game. You gotta find you know people know who they can manipulate.
Yeah.
That is
I just
not
think,
anything
y'all,
new.
that people don't like to feel bad, right? People don't, and that's, I mean, and I get it. People don't want to feel heartbreak. People don't want to go through storms. People, because this shit don't feel good, right? So I think
But what feels worse?
Huh?
What feels worse though? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what feels worse? Keep going through the bullshit? That's
No,
gonna
I
make
mean,
you. It's gonna make you more damaged and more damaged and more damaged and more damaged and more. It ain't like y'all can't see it. It ain't like y'all don't see the ending product of it. If I'm a guy and I'm no good and I'm messing with 4 women and they all know about each other, they all see the end game. Ain't there one of them finna get me.
Eric said, "Hi." Felicia said, "I'm out." Now this tickled me. This comment tickled me. Andrew Black says, "Nah, hell nah, you're gonna work." No, I am not
Yes, you
working.
gonna work.
I am not. If no, I'm gonna let me tell you what, if I have to agree to something like this, just say hypothetically, right? I agree to this. I'm gonna have to go to therapy every week to be able to maintain this shit. Because in order for me to keep myself in position and not you up, I'm gonna talk to somebody outside of you. I'm sorry. I gotta get my thoughts out there. So when I come for 6 days out of that 7-day week, I'm cool. Because it's not gonna work. It's not. So my final thoughts, hell no. Hell no. And I wouldn't have been friends with dude. We would not be going no freaking camping trips, and we ain't hanging out. And don't come and tell me that bullshit about how you want another wife. Take your whatever you are and move on. And what I'll do, I'll go to therapy and I'll heal. I will heal. Because think about, there's nothing that as human beings we cannot overcome. Life is a life of overcoming. Every day there's something. So I'll have to get over your ass and I'll be good. Bye. But you want to go next week? What? You know what I'm saying? I think as women, yes, it is hard when you're being in this marriage and she loves her husband and all this stuff. But you don't love me enough because that you come with me with this bullshit and you really know I said no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's about respect, right? Men want respect. Can I get some respect? Can I feel secure and safe with you? Because now she's not feeling safe, she's not secure. Because if you come with me that bullshit, I'm gonna be like anxious, I'm gonna be in my head, and you're gonna be miserable. So you might as well just go on.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody sleeping. You're not sleeping well, sir, because that one eye will be like this.
Okay. What 15 seconds. No, a man knowing that about you, the same way Felicia said earlier, would never approach you with even that thought, right? So
Right.
if he approached her, I would not dare approach. If I was married, I would not dare approach my wife with something like that, right? But if he approached his wife with that, that means something has gone on where he thought that she could potentially say yes to it.
I agree.
Potentially say yes. I'm telling y'all, she's down for it. I think it's gonna end up. She's gonna be in a relationship.
She's down for it.
She's down for it. She's gonna be in it.
Downtown lover.
Oh God. All right, guys, we need to wrap this up. I enjoyed this show this week. It was so funny to me. Even doing the research was kind of funny. I was like, men just don't want to live, right? Y'all just don't want to live. God. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.